Hey everyone, and welcome. If you've ever tried to teach a kid a new language, you know it's one of the most rewarding things you can do, but man, it can also be a little tough. Today, we're going to dive into a really cool approach for teaching English to elementary school students, and it all boils down to one huge question.
Right? This is the big one for parents and teachers everywhere. How do you make learning grammar and new words feel less like a chore and more like, actual fun? Well, let's take a look at a program that really tries to crack that code.
So, what are we talking about here? Essentially, it's a modern e-learning program designed specifically for young ESL students. And the goal isn't just to teach a few words here and there, but to build a really solid foundation so they can become truly fluent.
To really get it, we're going to break this down into two parts. First, we'll look at what the program actually teaches. But then, and this is maybe the most important part, we'll look at how it teaches it in a way that actually connects with kids.
Okay, so let's start with the curriculum. And I want you to think of these topics less like a random list of rules and more like Legos. The essential building blocks a kid needs to start putting together their own sentences and ideas in English.
As you can see, it covers all the fundamentals. It starts with the basics, like naming things, you've got your nouns and numbers, and figuring out where they go, with prepositions. Then, boom, it moves right into expressing who you are, like what you can do and what you like doing. It's pretty much the perfect starter kit for a new speaker.
So what we're really talking about here is a foundational language program. And the whole philosophy is super smart. Give kids the most important tools first. If they can master these core ideas early on, it just sets them up for way more success and confidence later.
All right, now for the really cool part. Knowing what to teach is one thing, but knowing how to get a 7-year-old excited about it, that's the real magic. This is the program's secret sauce, how it makes learning so engaging.
It's a really simple but powerful 3-step approach. First, they animate everything, making those tricky grammar ideas visual and fun. Then, they use interactive games so kids can practice without any pressure. And finally, they show it all happening in a real classroom, which helps connect the lesson to the real world.
So the whole point of this is to completely flip the script on what learning feels like. It's about changing that feeling from, oh, I have to learn this, to whoa, I get to figure this out. And for a little kid, that change in attitude is absolutely everything.
Okay, so theory is great, but let's see how this all works when the rubber meets the road. We're going to zoom in on one specific lesson, teaching kids how to talk about their favorite things using the like plus ing pattern.
I love this. The lesson starts with a super simple, personal question that makes kids immediately think about their own lives. It's not, here's a grammar rule. It's, hey, let's talk about something fun you love. It makes the whole thing relevant from the very first second.
Then we meet some characters. First up is Mia. The lesson gives a super clear, simple example that's tied to a character you can recognize. She likes reading books. It's easy to get, and it shows the exact sentence structure they're trying to teach.
And next up, we've got Ben. Again, another really clear example. He likes playing soccer. This isn't an accident. Seeing the pattern a couple of times with different people and different activities really helps it sink in, all without ever calling it a rule.
And this slide is great because it pulls back the curtain and shows the simple logic behind it all. It breaks down the sentences we just saw from Mia and Ben and shows that there's a simple, repeatable formula here. You just take the action word, the verb, and pop ing on the end after like. It turns a kind of abstract grammar idea into a simple recipe anyone can follow.
And this is just a fantastic way to finish. The lesson doesn't just stop with the explanation, it turns into a creative challenge. By asking the kids to draw and share what they like doing, it takes them from just listening to actually using their new skill in a personal way.
So let's zoom back out and look at the big picture again. Why does this whole method, this blend of a solid curriculum and a playful approach, actually work so well for building fluency early on?
Well, it works because every single piece is designed to make learning feel easier, not harder. It builds that strong foundation with examples that kids can actually relate to. It turns confusing grammar into a simple, creative game. It's that whole package, from the smart curriculum to the fun activities, that makes it all stick.
Which kind of leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? When it comes to teaching our youngest learners, maybe the most important question isn't just about what's on the syllabus. Maybe the real key to unlocking a new language is all about how well we can turn learning into playing. Thanks for listening.